Why, hello there. How are you today? Awesome Soul here, and yes, I know I am slightly late to the party. However, hopefully it's not too big of a deal. And, why exactly am I late? Well, the video I'm talking about actually came out 2 days ago, but never mind that. I thought it was incredibly interesting, actually, so I figured I would actually talk about it. And that, of course, is the latest Pokemon Sun and Moon trailer. So, this actually has dropped a ton of very, very interesting information, and a lot of it actually leaves us with more questions than answers. However, I will go through it and give my take on it. And of course, if you want to watch the trailer for yourself, link is in the description down below. So, the trailer opens up with Type Null. And no, this Pokemon, it's not a new type. It is a normal type. Its name is actually Type Null, which is kind of weird. So it's got the ability Battle Armor, and it is indeed a normal type. However, it does look very different than most Pokemon, and that's because, well, it is actually based off of a Chimera, which has ties to alchemy, rather. And for those of you who've been keeping up with the game, if you do look close enough, apparently there are plenty of alchemical relationships throughout the game, or little alchemical secrets, or throwbacks, or what have you. So a lot of people have been speculating that alchemy plays a role, at the very least, in the theming of this game. And chimeras are very alchemical related, or related to alchemy, I should say. So this is actually a synthetic Pokemon. So this isn't a natural, wild, roaming the grasslands kind of Pokemon. This is actually made in a lab. So I will actually come back to this point later on. But the mask it's wearing, that's not actually part of its body. That is essentially a power limiting mask, structure, device, whatever you want to call it. And it's there because the reason Type Null was created originally was to rival that of a mythical Pokemon. People are speculating, actually, that it's meant to rival the power of Arceus, the god Pokemon, just because the 4 prongs coming off the mask look incredibly similar to those of Arceus. Strangely enough, though, it's kind of weird because that's limiting its power, but the thing limiting its power is kind of resemblant of Arceus. So, a little odd, but then I guess it does kind of make sense. So, never mind. Anyways, moving on to the next one, we have Jang Mo-O. And for those of you who don't know, Mo-O, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, is actually the Hawaiian word for lizard or dragon. And of course, it is indeed a dragon Pokemon. So this is the scale Pokemon, and what's most likely going to be the case with this thing is people are speculating that it is the pseudo-legendary. So think like Dragonite, Tyranitar, Salamence, those kind of things. And I could possibly see that, but honestly, we don't know at this point. It's just wild speculation. However, if it would actually be a pseudo-legendary, I totally see it being a very defensive Pokemon rather than offensive. I'm sure it's going to be decently strong, but probably not that fast. So my reasoning for this is because 1, it's classified as the scale Pokemon, and 2, both of its abilities are defensive based, not offensive based or what have you. So yeah, only time will tell, but all in all, this definitely is one of my favorites that have actually come out of Generation 7 so far. I would definitely love to have one on my team. Hopefully you can get it fairly early. I believe in the trailer, or one of the few trailers, I think it might have been the Japanese trailer, it seemed to be level 25, or it seemed to fight something level 25, something like that. So hopefully it is sort of mid-game to early game, because I want one. And next up, we actually have, what's this? Eradicate. Yes. For those of you who actually have not been keeping up with the game, there are these things called Alolan forms. And what that is basically, so far it's just the Generation 1 Pokemon that have been given Alolan forms. But what it does is, think of it like divergent evolution, like we have in real life. So, some Pokemon have come to the Alola region, which is the region you're in Generation 7, and they've adapted to their new environment in different ways. And Eradicate has adapted by becoming incredibly fat. So yes, he is no longer Raticate anymore, he is Faticate. Not really, it's still Raticate, but it's just the Alolan form. I, felt like adding the F on there because, it fits perfectly well. Anyways, so this one, like I said before, it is a more urban rat as opposed to the ones from Kanto, which are a lot more wild and sort of roaming the grassland. This one actually prefers to stay in more urban areas or very close to them. So it gets its little Rattata minions to gather its food and bring it back to its nest and basically hoard all the food there and eat it and get incredibly fat. So it's also got some very good taste buds too, as it says in the little description there. So clearly, this one is actually based off Guy Fieri. Take me to Flavortown, baby! We actually have a brand new feature, but it's not quite a new feature, and that would be Pokemon Snap 2.0, possibly? Well, not exactly. It seems to be like you can take pictures in certain spots, but maybe not. Because in the trailer it looked like you had to go to a certain spot, but then again, there are other things in other trailers that would probably mean that you can actually take a picture anywhere. Hopefully it's the latter and not the former. But yeah, I'm actually kind of looking forward to this. It's one of those small features that sort of fleshes out the game, just adds a lot to it, even though I might not use it the most. I think it's going to be a nice feature to have, especially for those that actually liked Pokemon Snap back in the day. And now, one of the more incredibly strange things. This was done at the very end of the trailer, and Ultra Beasts were talked about. So, what these are, they're not Pokemon, but they kind of are, sort of. Well, the thing is, on the official Pokemon site, they are not listed as Pokemon at all. You actually have to go to a separate spot. So, that pretty much confirms that they're not Pokemon. And in the Japanese trailer, this thing has seen coming through a portal from another dimension. At least that's what it seems to be like. So, yeah, I don't know what to think of these things. It's very weird. So, we're going to be getting more based on the description in the, well, I guess the description of this little creature here. So this is UB01, and its body is made of glass. However, it's able to control the glass and sort of melt itself into different forms, kind of. That's like, basically, you see it moving in the trailer, so it's always kind of like moving and shifting. So maybe it's not exactly glass, it's just, it seems glass-like to us humans because, I don't know, man, it's from a different dimension and stuff. It's not even a Pokemon. So, very interesting to learn more about this thing, and a lot of people have been pointing out that this is actually very, very, very similar looking to one of the characters that have already been revealed, and that's Lily. So, it's said that she's going to have a secret. So I guess that's kind of the secret. She's related to UB01 in some way, and I guess I'll tie this all together by going into the Aether Foundation. So, what exactly is the Aether Foundation? Well, they are another team. Basically, they seem like the good guys, but I'm not entirely sure. Because previously, we've been introduced to Team Skull, and everyone was like, oh, these are clearly the bad guys. But then we've been introduced to the Aether Foundation, and everyone at first was like, oh, cool, the good guys. And then everyone was like, wait a second, maybe there's something else here. And I totally agree with that. So, it seems like there is a relationship between Lily and Lusamine, because they got the same hair color and the same eye color. Also, Faba, the more scientist-looking person, has the same green eyes and blonde hair as well. So they're probably related too? That's my guess anyway. And what ties it all together even more is that we also have another new character. This one is actually part of Team Skull, and we use kind of like a runaway, sort of. So he is Gladion. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. And he too has green eyes and blonde hair. And his partner, tying it back to the very first thing I talked about, is type Null. So he's the one that actually owns this thing. And presumably there is only one of these guys, because it's like a science experiment gone wrong type thing. So now we get into the theory crafting. My theory, even though it's based off some very loose information, but I think it's interesting to talk about nonetheless, and let you guys hear me out. So, my guess is that Lusamine, Faba, Lily, and Gladion are all related. So, they were all part of Team Aether, or the Aether Foundation, rather. And Lily sort of went off to do her own thing, possibly? Or I'm not quite sure. I guess she left for some reason. Maybe she lost her memories? I don't know, because she's definitely related to UB01, and it's actually shown in the Japanese version of the trailer that UB01 is actually found inside the Aether Foundation. Basically comes through a portal inside there. And Gladion, who has type Null, most likely is also, or was also, part of the Aether Foundation at one point. And he probably ran away at some point and took type Null with him. That's my guess. Because it couldn't possibly have been created by Team Skull. There's no way they had the scientific tech to do that. Because they're just a ragtag group of thieves, basically. They're not a huge foundation like the Aether Foundation is. So my guess is the Aether Foundation, in order to control the Ultra Beasts, actually experimented on a Pokemon, trying to make it the ultimate Pokemon, and fused a whole bunch of parts onto it and made it into this abomination. And it probably was Gladion's Pokemon at one point, and then he took it and ran away. That's my theory, anyway. Kind of a weird theory, but I don't know. What do you guys think? I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But I'm definitely looking forward to getting more Sun Moon information. The game is only about 2 months away, so it's creeping up on us. Anyways, I know this is fairly different from what I normally do on the channel, but hopefully you enjoyed it nonetheless. Let me know down below what you guys think of this. Have you been keeping up with the game at all? Has this video piqued your interest in Pokemon again? Or do you still think this is stupid and you don't like Pokemon? I don't know. Let me know down below. That's why I do these videos, to get feedback and stuff. Well, you know, I do these to entertain you guys as well. But anyways, I'll end the rambling here. I've been the Awesome Soul. I thank you so much for watching, and I will indeed be seeing you next time. Take care.